Welcome to the energy apocalypse. Alright, that's a little dramatic, but not entirely unrealistic. See, we build our whole world on a steady supply of cheap, unlimited energy, and the bill is coming due. Fossil fuels are running low. Climate change is getting worse. Renewable energy isn't scaling fast enough, and most people will shrug and hope for the best. Even though you clicked on this video, there's nothing you can do to fix this issue. So today, we're breaking down the energy crisis, why it's happening, what's at stake, and the fix we're most likely to fall into. So, why are we in this mess? In short, we're energy addicts. By 2050, global energy demand will double. Here's the problem. 80% of our energy still comes from fossil fuels. Those fuels are getting harder and more expensive to pull from the ground. And oh yeah, burning them is cooking the planet. It's like having an old car that guzzles gas, constantly breaks down, and occasionally sets the crib on fire. And instead of getting a new one, we duct tape that shit. We've been hearing about fossil fuels since middle school when science teachers were forced to show that Al Gore talk on climate change.
It's your position on issues, but can you get things done? And I believe I can. All right.
What about the demo?
Let's speed through some examples if you forgot. Oil, peak production is happening right now. Coal, still abundant but makes the air taste like a campfire. Natural gas, slightly cleaner but still a problem. Why not just go full renewable? We should, but it's not that easy. Solar and wind are amazing, but the current US transmission grid is often inadequate to handle increased electricity generated by large-scale solar and wind projects. Hydro, great, but we've already dammed most of the good rivers. Nuclear, super efficient, but people hear nuclear and immediately picture Chernobyl.
So big tech is throwing big money at making new kinds of power domestically. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has invested hundreds of millions in fusion and fission, plus a new type of solar. Amazon's put $500 million into 3 small nuclear reactor projects. Microsoft has green hydrogen and nuclear fusion deals. Google is helping run some of its data centers on geothermal.
What does power demand from AI mean for the power sector, and how do we make it clean, reliable, and cheap? I think it's the story of the decade.
For shits and giggles, say we keep ignoring the problem. What's the worst that could happen? Scenario 1. Your energy bill becomes a mortgage. In 2022, Europe saw energy prices triple when Russia cut off gas. Now imagine that. $500 electricity bills, but worldwide. Scenario 2. Rolling blackouts. California and Texas have already had practice rounds with this. Soon, blackouts could be as common as spam calls about your car's extended warranty. Scenario 3. We break the planet. The more fossil fuels we burn, the hotter things get. That means more wildfires, floods, and food shortages. Real life Mad Max shit, but without the cool outfits. So yeah, we should probably do something, right? The problem? Our grid is ancient. Power grids were designed a century ago, back when people just needed light bulbs and a radio, not millions of electric cars charging at the same time. Cities running 24/7 on AI-driven everything. A global internet addicted to cat videos. The fix? Smart grids and big batteries. AI-powered grids that predict energy demand before things break. Super batteries to store solar and wind power for when we need it. Microgrids, so when the main grid goes down, neighborhoods don't turn into the set of The Purge. Countries like China and Germany are already throwing billions at these solutions. The rest of the world should probably hurry up. Alright, so how do we actually fix this mess and keep the lights on for good? It's not all doom and gloom. Some seriously cool tech is on the horizon. Let's start with nuclear. Now, I know when you hear nuclear, you probably think of giant cooling towers and The Simpsons. But forget that. The next generation of nuclear is here. Enter small modular reactors, or SMRs. They're compact, way safer, and can be built in a factory like Tesla's on steroids. They're practically meltdown proof, and Bill Gates is all in on this. This could be a game changer. Then there's fusion, the energy cheat code. This is what powers the sun. Unlimited, clean, no meltdown risk. And after decades of we're almost there, scientists at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab finally pulled it off. They got more energy out of a fusion reaction than they put in. That's historic. Now, we're still a few decades away from plugging this into your Xbox, but it's going to happen. Next up is solar and wind innovations. NASA's exploring space-based solar farms. giant satellites that collect solar energy and beam it down to Earth like sci-fi magic. And if you don't like that, how about floating wind turbines out in a deep ocean, where the wind doesn't quit? And let's not sleep on geothermal. The Earth is basically a giant battery that's always on. There's enough heat under our feet to power the entire planet for centuries. The only thing holding us back? Drilling tech. Advances are coming out of places like MIT sooner than you think. So if we've got the tech, the science, and even the funding, why aren't we already crushing on clean, limitless energy? 2 words: political nonsense. First up, the fossil fuel mafia. These guys are like the final boss in the clean energy game. Oil and gas companies spend over $200 million a year just lobbying US politicians. That's not spare change, that's straight up influence. And despite all the climate talk, the US still gives them $20 billion in subsidies annually. Yep, we're literally paying polluters to keep polluting. Meanwhile, renewable energy is over here hustling like it's selling cookies door to door just to get noticed. Then we've got the energy grid. You'd think upgrading it would be a no-brainer, but nope. It's a bureaucratic black hole. Want to build a transmission line? Get ready for a decade of permits, lawsuits, and arguing with local officials about whether a power line ruins the view. Spoiler, it does. But so does an uninhabitable planet. Even though modern nuclear is crazy safe, people still think of mushroom clouds and Chernobyl every time it comes up. In reality, coal kills way more people each year than nuclear ever has. But hey, thanks again to Simpson. On a global scale, it's not any better. Countries that make their money from oil, Russia, Saudi Arabia, aren't exactly cheering for a solar-powered future. Renewables threaten their entire economy. So yeah, they'll throw a few political wrenches in the works, or a few trade wars or worse. And finally, let's talk about the political weather forecast in the US. Stormy with a 100% chance of policy flip-flopping. Every time a new president gets elected, climate policies do a full 180. That makes long-term investments in clean energy about as risky as betting on crypto during Mercury retrograde. Investors want stability, not whiplash. The future of energy is wild, promising, and if we can figure out a way to make the powers that be feel like they didn't lose, we'll all win. The energy crisis isn't inevitable. It's a choice. We can keep burning outdated fuels until things collapse, invest in smarter, cleaner, and more efficient energy while we still can. The good news: solutions exist. The bad news: politicians don't have any incentive to do so. Charlie Munger famously said, "Show me the incentives, and I'll show you the outcome."